All right, everybody, welcome. We have another back-to-back field trip day. No, it's not my field trip, but I am in a different location. I am coming to you guys from Columbus, Ohio, and we are going to take a look into the wood shop of the other half of the life of Dr. Nick right now, from hobby to passion to possibly stream of income. If that sounds good to you guys on your way in, hit a quick thumbs up. I know that this will have a lot of replay views and people checking us out in the future. Please, in the future, leave a comment, leave a thumbs up, anything. We want to make sure you guys are just as involved as we are. And get involved in the chat right now if you guys don't mind. So, if you guys could allow me to welcome the co-host and my friend, who is battling the heat, just like many of us, that could add an interesting wrinkle to the field trip today. But please welcome Nick. And Nick, how are you doing today, sir?
But good. Hot, but good.
Yeah.
Good, but hot.
And what do you guys...
I don't know which one comes first. Good and then hot, or hot and then good. But either way, I am both. I just don't know which one more, I guess.
Yeah. What are you guys kicking at today? What's your high? What's your humidity like?
Let's see. Well, right now we're sitting at 95.
Whew.
So the temperature in the corner of my Apple Watch
Yeah.
doesn't normally have an orange to red ring around it. It normally has like a green to blue ring around it. And now it's gone past the blue, the green, all of that. And now it's just orange straight into red. So
Yep.
I adjusted my lights accordingly because I feel like I'm under a heat lamp. So I figured I would adjust my LEDs so that it looked like I was under a heat lamp. Because I feel like a 7-Eleven hot dog.
And Dan B's not far from you, and he says 97, but it has a real feel of 110.
Yeah, I can't wait to get out of Pembroke and back over to Marshfield. Like that 12-minute difference going to our place is like, oh my God, it's the world. Like, it's gonna drop. I bet you it drops 5 degrees just driving from here to my house, right? If I left right now. And then if I went from my house like out to like Saquish Head where we were the other day, like out at like Duxbury Beach, guaranteed 10-12 degrees colder than here.
Wow. Just not lake effect, but like ocean effect, water
Marine
effect.
Yeah,
Marine.
because the water is so deep on either side of like some of those little peninsulas that the water stays super cold. And sometimes the land, I mean, doesn't get above 10 feet over sea level, and it's only like 1,000 yards wide. So when you're standing there, you're basically on like this little ridge between like 50-degree water and 65-degree water. So it's really nice. You definitely want to escape somewhere near that sort of water situation if you're in New England right now, because it's everywhere else is hot.
Yeah, geez. Channing says, and I think she's in North Dakota, but she said 73 with a high of 78. She said last week was in the 90s. 73 with a high of 78. That's when you're not by water. That's perfect. I can do 90s when I'm by water. That's like if I'm swimming or boating or anything. That's great. I'll take it.
Yeah, that's not so bad. Look at that at 95 and 108 in Virginia Beach. It's been kind of it's stretching across the country. I was looking at the weather map this morning, and where Channing is, it's like she was saying she had it last week, and it's kind of slowly moving over this way.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And a quick shout out to the main ladies in Nick's life. We have Jill saying, hey, hey, hey. Hey, girl, hey. Hope everyone and every beard is staying hydrated all week. And then the other main lady in your life, your mom, Julie's checking in, saying hello as well.
Oh, hello.
I love that.
She is getting the weather, too. It's kind of funny. You look at the weather map, and it's like curving down like from the northeast down to like the southeast. So she's right on the curve. She's going to get it even worse tomorrow, it looks like, for them down there.
Yeah. Today is peak for Columbus, and then it's like thunderstorms possible all day for the next like week.
Dude, afternoon thunderstorms after a heat wave are the coolest thunderstorms ever.
It's like you welcome them. You want them. You are so relieved to have them.
Yeah, no, for sure. And it's like I think that was one of my favorite parts of living in Florida was like like in the summer, the afternoon thunder showers that you get. Like you
Yeah.
can set a clock to them. It's like every day, 3 o'clock, rains till 4:30.
Yep.
But I miss those. That's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because when it dumps up here, it's not like that. You know what I mean? It's not like heavy, thick rain. Like heavy rain up here is like it happens, but not like it does down there.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, it's because it's just a different level of humidity down there.
Oh yeah.
And Channing says, "Yeah, you're right. Her mom lives in Michigan, and she uses their weather to predict the next couple days."
Yeah, well, that makes total sense. That's exactly what you should be doing. I use Dan's weather to predict mine. So we're doing the same thing. It's like the carrier pigeon message for weather.
Yep, and he uses my mood too. Like if I'm having like a rough day, Nick's like, "Crap, tomorrow's gonna suck."
Yeah, crap tomorrow. Yeah, exactly right. I'm gonna start throwing stuff early.
Yep. So
get it over with.
At least we know it's coming. So yeah, just get a little bit ahead of it.
You do. Where do your moods come from? Who lives on the West Coast that you inherit your mood from?
Let me see. Anybody in the chat? Leo, maybe. It could be Leo.
Or it could just be cyclical too. We could just be like this tornado effect back and forth between Massachusetts and Michigan.
It could. It's like the Great Lakes and the East Coast have this little belt where it like gets to the East Coast and then swings back to me. Then it gets to the Great Lakes and swings back to you.
Yep, I'll take it. Yep. The Michigan the M paradox.
Mm-hmm. M squared. Yep.
Yeah. The M squared paradox. That's exactly what it is.
Your mom said we get to be attacked by lightning.
Attacked by lightning. She has the best view too. She has like a wall of windows right in front of her couch.
Yeah, you streamed there before.
Right. Yeah, pretty much everyone's seen it. It's like so she has like a IMAX of weather in front of her at all times, which is awesome.
And hasn't she had some cool wildlife, like a big cat has strolled through there or something?
Oh yeah, like they get all kinds of crazy mammals walking through the yard, but mostly the birds out there, the like crazy hawks or they get eagles.
My favorite.
All kinds of stuff.
My favorite. I love that.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Let's go ahead and get into it and for what we have planned today. And then we will be checking back in at the end of the field trip back into the studio here with Nick. So we might have some time for just general questions. But please, you guys, the more you guys are involved, the better these streams are. So if you have a question, if you have an observation, if you relate to this today, put some comments in the chat. We really like to engage with you guys. And essentially, Nick has been really enjoying a like new thing, but it's not new because he's had all the experience and tools and everything kind of built in. And I'll let him explain it far better than I can. And Nick, I would love to hear kind of where this new journey began, like what's going on, where you see it going, and then we go on that kind of field trip to see everything at. And just real quick to your mom, Julie, I'm in Columbus, Ohio for the week. So I'm down here. My son Maddox has some really big soccer opportunities, essentially kind of trying out he got a special invite to an ID session for their academy, which is like a live-in academy, big deal. And so yeah, we've been battling all the heat and everything. But yeah, so Columbus, Ohio, we are at an Airbnb. And real quick, interesting Airbnb. This is like the second stay of this Airbnb. And so it's beautiful. This is a loft. Like it's gorgeous. But being that it's the second stay that anyone stayed here, there's a bunch of little things that they haven't figured out yet.
Like just stuff that's just missing.
Exactly. Like we didn't have hand towels or washcloths.
Whoops.
Or above the garage or the doors, it's two units like side by side. We have the top and part of the bottom, then the other one's just like a smaller one. They don't have whether it's 402 or 400. It's just like you're in this location. So we had to figure out which one was ours. And then they didn't have the new code for the door or the garage. They didn't have the new code for the Wi-Fi. So essentially every single like corner, we're like, oh, then we have to message them. They're like, shoot, sorry, here you go. Oh, sorry, here you go. Oh, yeah, dang it. The trash should have been taken out yesterday. Shoot, sorry. So it's like this weird, like teaching them how to have an Airbnb kind of thing.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's not a big deal. It's not a problem. Can it be a little bit annoying with 3 kids and my wife here? Yeah, it can be. So that's been interesting.
I've been there. I've done that. And you know what? When it's happened to me, I've been fine with it so long as they give me a rate that's like commensurate to the level of involvement that I had to have in the rental process.
I've thought about that, and I'm like, I don't know how to go about that.
I think if I'm going to be a beta user, right, I should probably have like the soft opening cost for the menu.
And the craziest, get ready for this. Okay, I'm sorry, guys, we will get back to the field trip, but this is worth the story because it happened after my live stream last night, so no one's heard this. So it is, like I said, like imagine like a house, right? I don't know how to describe it, but we have half of the house and then over. They have just the under part on one side. So we're 2 stories tall, and then it goes above theirs. So
if
they're under.
it's a 2-row Lego game, you essentially have an upside down L-shaped piece on top of a square-shaped piece.
And they're the square-shaped piece.
Yep.
So they weren't here until last night at 12:30. How do I know? Because they were loud as crap. Loud as all heck can be. Now, apparently they're U.S. diplomats from another country. I don't know where they're from, but that's
sweet. So they have diplomatic immunity, so you can't even call the cops on them?
Literally. And so, no big deal. But then get this. I got a 2-part story here, guys. It's worth it, though. Get this. So we are in bed, and they have this. They have this fan here in our bed, and it has like the remote to change the LED. You can turn it on. You can turn it off. Pretty simple. Well, I'm in bed at 12:30. All of a sudden, the light turns on. And Nick, you will get this because you're in your studio right now. And I'm like, Sam's sleeping. So I'm like, off.
And that turn there is off.
All of a sudden, my fan turns off.
Uh-huh.
It's 90 degrees. No. Fan on. Light on. No, off. And then it goes light on, off, on, off, on, off. Their remote in the Airbnb below us.
It's the same code as yours.
It's the same code as ours. So we were battling. I don't know what I was doing to theirs, but we are in bed. I need the fan. We don't know what to do. It's 12:30. And so we'll come back to that in a second. This morning, Maddox goes down to get his like Crocs out of the van. Comes back in, he was like, oh, the neighbors are down there, and we get up at like 7 because that's the kids get up. We tell them they can't get up before 7. And again, these guys are super loud at 12:30. Well, these guys say to Maddox, who's 10, hey, don't make so much noise. And Maddox, and we haven't met them or anything. And Maddox says, oh, it was my siblings. And he's like, they kind of laughed at me. I go down there, I go, what's going on, fellas? Nothing. Crickets. Nothing. And I'm like, ooh. But yeah, this is after, and I was ready for a conversation with them because they were loud as can be at 12:30. You don't say a word about being loud this morning. You woke my whole family up, buddy. We'll have a real chat. And so those are the guys I'm light and fan battling with. What do I do, Nick? How do you handle that situation?
You definitely have to Morse code their lights tonight. Like SOS is easy. STFU can't be that hard. Right? So like at least try to get some microaggressions out through the use of your newfound superpowers, which is controlling a light in someone else's room. I
like that.
Yeah. I think the only way to do it is to either hit the situation head on like you tried to do, but apparently Mr. and Mrs. don't like confrontation downstairs, don't want to talk to you about it.
Right.
So if that's the case, the only way to take is the passive aggressive avenue.
Yeah, we messaged the like Airbnb host and we're like, hey, funny story. The remote is on the same code.
I would just change the code. I would just reprogram the remote to your fan in your room, and that way when you reprogram it, it's going to be on a different dip setting than theirs. Okay.
So I don't know that, but I'm sure I can Google it and figure it out.
Oh, it's easy. You take off the cover. There's going to be a little switchboard, little dip switches. Flip. It'll be like 3 down, 1 up, and the fan will be the same. So take the first one, flip it the other direction, and do the same on the remote, and now it's on a different code.
So I manually do it on the fan as well?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's usually right under the casing of the light, something like that, or on the side. You'll see it. You might want to look that one up online, figure out, like, look at the installation instructions and see where they tell you to set the dip switch code.
Okay. Now I got to figure out how to get up there.
You know what's funny is they don't ever take that into account when they only put 3 positions on those switches.
Right.
Because that means you can only have 12 fans. And so they're counting on no one ever buying more than 12 of those in one house.
Wow. Nate, you missed it. You got to go back a little bit. It's worth it to hear it. It's a wild one.
Oh, Nate. I mean, so the second answer was change the code in the remote so it doesn't overlap your neighbors. But the first one was definitely mess with your neighbors now that you figure out your code's on the same remote, or the remote's on the same code. So I think when you go back, you'll support both of our directions here.
Yeah, I just couldn't believe they told Maddox to be quiet, and then when I came, they didn't say a word.
I'm so the opposite of that. Like, if I had neighbors that I didn't like in an Airbnb and I saw their kid in the morning, I'd be like, hey, bud.
Yep.
And then, like, that's it. Like, I wouldn't even be like, hey, can you ask your mom or dad to come down and give us a knock on the door when they wake up? Nothing. There wouldn't even relay a message. Like,
no.
And then as soon as I saw you, I'd be like, hey, everyone likes breakdancing. Do you think you can do it before 10 p.m.? Like something stupid. Like, and obviously annoyed, but opening the door for a back and forth at least.
Right. And that's, I literally at verbatim, I go, what up, fellas? And they just kind of murmured. There wasn't even a noise. It was just and they were, we were 2 feet apart. I mean, it was right here. Like it was crazy. So yeah, that was my Airbnb story. And, so hopefully I don't make the news for a diplomatic exchange.
Yeah, let's hope you don't get like a Lethal Weapon, like, was that Lethal Weapon 2, where the guy had diplomatic immunity and he got like pulled over and he's like, diplomatic immunity, and like shows him his thing through the window. Right.
Yeah, I'll take my chances.
Thought that was the coolest thing when I was a kid. I was like, there's people that can come here and they don't have to follow any rules.
Amazing. They're dang near sovereign citizens.
Let's see how that's working out right now, though.
Right.
I bet no one's really testing whether or not they're going to exercise their diplomatic immunity right now.
Yeah,
they're kind of like, I could do that.
Right.
But nah.
Read the room.
I would, but I just don't want to.
Read the room.
Yeah. Not the time to be tone deaf.
All right. So some diplomats have no diplomacy. That's a fact. I met
most.
them. Right. Change some to most. Yeah. Okay. Back to it here. Nick has a new journey, a new hobby. How did it start? Where are we at? How do you see the future? And then we're going on a trip, you guys.
Yeah. So talk about a trip. It's been a trip. And so, I think this is the combination of a few things happening. One, I think it's natural when you turn 40 something, in my case, 41, soon to be 42, you kind of look around and you're like, what the hell am I doing? I think that's pretty normal. But have you ever, have you ever had a situation where, maybe it's with ingredients like in your kitchen, right? Like if you like to cook and you don't know what you're doing, it's like a Saturday or Sunday, you don't really have any plans on cooking, but like you look around in your kitchen and you're like, oh man, I have lemons and white wine and panko breadcrumbs and some extra potatoes and some chicken. Like I'm definitely making chicken piccata. Wasn't planning on it, but that's happening right now. And like, it's one of those things where if you didn't know how to make chicken piccata, right? Seeing all of the ingredients laying around your kitchen would never make you think to make chicken piccata. And so I think what happened in my case here, this was one of those situations where I looked around one day, I was doing I forget what I was even doing. And I was like looking at, I was thinking about photography and doing something cool. And then I was thinking about 3D modeling and, we kind of posted the video and shared it of 3D mapping our dog Sir, turning that into a 3D model and then turning that into a wood carving with the CNC machine. Anyway, I got this idea that it'd be cool to take animals, people, whoever, and do portraits like a photo But instead of doing it on photo paper, do it onto wood with the CNC machine and carve them out of blocks of wood and do wall art out of portraits. And you can kind of play with the grain and the species of wood and all kinds of other fun stuff in the process. And it's a weird combination of a bunch of different, I guess, creative ingredients, right? It's photography, it's 3D modeling, it's relief and 3D texturing, it's photo editing, so lots of digital photo editing. It's both CAD and CAM software programming. So there's 6 things. And then a pretty good deal of woodworking and tool pathing, and then wood finishing and finish work. So it's like 8 things that I've kind of done throughout my life separately, you know? But it was kind of cool that an idea that kind of formulated was based on these 8 different things that normally don't have anything to do with each other. And the creativity kind of just, again, used all of them as tools or ingredients to sort of bring this thing into into reality. So I started doing that, and I figured Jill and I are always looking for ways, as you guys know, to give back from like a charity standpoint. And so like with our shower products, we do Friends of Boston Homeless, and completely unintentionally by name, we hooked up on with Friends of Marshfield Humane Society, or Animal Shelter, Friends of Marshfield Animal Shelter. And so they do a couple million a year in charity donations to the animal shelter. Plus they work with the vets in the area to help people pay their vet bills if they get something unexpected that they can't afford to pay themselves. So I was like, well, what a cool excuse to do more of these if I was doing them for people and donated like 10% of the proceeds of what we're doing to an animal welfare charity like that. So we did. So we hooked up with them. And all of a sudden I'm starting to get kind of, interest from the community here locally, but also from the art community and the animal community and the woodworking kind of community all at once. So it's kind of neat seeing, everything come together to support it. Everyone wants to see more of it. And now people are asking for them. So what I've been doing is in whatever spare time I can manufacture, it's mostly been on weekends, and then kind of having things running downstairs while I'm up here working on other stuff. But I've been cranking out some really cool portraits of people's dogs, of people, been doing some other just neat stuff. And that's sort of translated into just letting that CNC machine and the space downstairs maybe start paying some rent for itself at least, right? And that way I kind of have a space that I can use and do this kind of stuff for. And if I'm able to get some interest and get some projects under my belt, then it kind of helps support that little spot in the building, just kind of being there as a creative space that doesn't really need to do much else. And I don't need to rent it out or do anything else with it. And it also, being as everything I do aside from Dr. Nick's is very digital and virtual, this kind of gives me the ability to produce something that I can touch and look at and people can see, which definitely scratches an itch that, cybersecurity doesn't exactly do for you, right? So that's kind of where it came from and got here. It was just this weird idea that kind of turned into a one-off project, and that turned into more of it. Kind of like all cool things do. Like you do something and then other people besides you think it's neat, and the next thing you know, you're doing more of it and making it cooler, and then you do more of it. So it's a lot of fun. The name Broken Art, by the way, on Instagram, I've gotten some questions on the name with the spelling of broken. People are like, there's an H in there. The idea is there's a lot of stuff behind the idea of broken art and broken studios and all those sorts of things. But the name Broken is spelled like that because of that's how you spell like a bouquet in a photo. So when you do like a shallow depth of field and you take a photo of someone like in a portrait and the background is blurred out, that blurred out background is called a bouquet, and it's spelled Bokeh. So working that into kind of otherwise making 2 words out of one. So it's a cool name for an art studio. Makes you think about looking at things that were once broken and now aren't, and are cool to look at it for what's in front of you, not what's behind it. It's kind of the idea. But in doing so and all this, as you guys know, I rented out my wood shop downstairs to a tenant who sells retail wood. You know, I needed a space to do this. So there was a space that's kind of like the back corner of this shop that no one was using. And we put up a wall, installed another door. Actually, there was already a door. We just put on a doorknob. And so we built a wall, and it separated out this cool little, I don't know, maybe 800-ish square feet. And that's where we're going to go down today. So it's basically, it's very much under construction. So the wood shop right now, we just put up the wall a couple of months ago. It's not even all the way primed and painted yet. It's still drywall. And so far in there, I have my CNC machine functioning. I have a functioning table saw and some other various tools and a dedicated kind of paint and epoxy space that's also coming together. So down there, not even connected, is a planer, a joiner, a bandsaw, dust collector, all sorts of stuff is still in the works. I'm still running electrical down there. I just ran my first 2-phase electrical the other day with rigid conduit and all that good stuff that you have to do to meet commercial code requirements. So I'm slowly learning how to become an amateur commercial electrician, very, very cautiously, I might add. But I haven't electrocuted myself and I haven't burnt anything down yet. So everything so far is going as planned. But keep in mind, what we're looking at is a work in progress. It took some convincing for Dan to get this field trip to happen today because, like I say, it's not done. So there's stuff all over the place. There's things on the walls. There's piles of wood. There's cables hanging. There's barn doors that I'm not going to open. And Dan has convinced me that you guys think that is cool. And it's part of the fun is seeing things in that state. So assuming he is correct, you guys should think this is neat because that is exactly what it is. Very much a work in progress. And we can check out some of the stuff I'm making, check out the space, and then we'll do another one to see the place evolve. So it'll kind of be an iterative process. It'll be the first of a few field trips.
Awesome. And a couple quick things before we head out. Kevin says his workshop is controlled chaos, and Amber kind of hysterically agreed with him on controlled chaos.
Well, I think that's, it's kind of funny. If you make a space that's kind of like made to be creative, I actually, oddly enough, just to throw it out there, I'm normally one of those people that can't start anything until like all my things are lined up. Like if I'm working on a car, it's like every bolt, every screwdriver, like things are meticulous when I'm working on something. I have noticed down there the other day, I had my laptop and I used my laptop to shove back a pile of other stuff on a desk down there and then just sat there happily working on things.
You?
I did.
Whoa.
And I looked around and I'm like, kind of messy down here. And I'm like, yeah. And I went back right where I was doing. I was like, my brain was just, I go down there, my brain relaxes. It's weird. I don't feel like nitpicking things apart quite so much. Things don't have to be quite as perfect down there. It's very nice. And no, I'm not left-handed. I am right-handed.
Okay. And then this is kind of going to be the whole concept, but to kind of get ahead of it and just share, I don't know if there's like opposing views to 3D printing. I'm not really in that world, but Ryan wants to know your thoughts on 3D printing.
Oh, no, it's super cool. So one of the things so my son, Jack, he has a 3D printer and he went to a camp last summer to learn how to do like 3D modeling and some 3D printing stuff. And he hasn't done a ton with it, but I'm hoping one of the ways that we can kind of get some more stuff out of that with him too is CNC machining is the opposite of 3D printing, right? You're taking away material in order to make a shape or to form something. So you're removing material and sculpting, whereas with 3D printing, it's the inverse of that, where you're building up and you're building something from nothing that was there. One of the things that I've looked at doing with the 3D printing side of things is electroplating. I was looking at this cool electro adhering paint that you can paint onto plastic, namely 3D printed parts. And you can paint this graphite paint onto things and then electroform or electroplate with copper and nickel. So you can actually make like copper and nickel things out of 3D printed objects. So I thought, it'd be really kind of cool as options for people who got portraits done of pets to be able to do pendants that were like copper coated, electroplated 3D printed pendants. I thought would be pretty neat. So I'm gonna be trying my hand at some electroplating and current plating next, because I just think it's cool and I've never done it.
That'd be really cool. Really, really cool. Love that. All right, we ready to go on this trip?
Let's do it. Let me switch audio here.
Okay, I'll remove you from this, and then just give me a thumbs up on the mobile when you're ready. All right, guys, so we're going to be switching over to Nick's mobile. We'll be going on this field trip. And again, this is a work in progress. And as Channing says, it's cool to see the beginning and finished product to get an idea that the work that was put into it. I agree. I love seeing how something is, how it develops, and what it becomes. And I was telling Nick, I was like, I think a lot of people like to see behind the scenes. They like to see the real stuff. That's what this show's all about, is being transparent. And so I'm excited, guys. I've been in the shop, but I have not seen it since the new changes that they've made. So I think it's going to be pretty cool to see what's all going on. And if you guys remember the field trip last week, this is in the same building. It's just downstairs. Nick's upstairs right now. The shop is at the main floor, and then the wood shop is downstairs. And Justin says behind the scenes is amazing. I agree, man. I love it. It's so valuable to me to be able to see all this stuff, especially to show like you've got nothing to hide. You're proud to display everything. All right, so Nick's getting us ready over here, you guys. Checking out everything they have. Hey, what's up, Big Red? About to be going on a field trip. All right, you ready, good sir? Beautiful. All right, let's bring him in and see. And Jill is on the main floor hiding in Shelly's nice and cool. Ooh, that's key. That's key. All right. Mic check. You look good.
Mic check. 1 2 1 2.
Sound good. All right, man.
Looking good.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, here up in the loft, as you guys saw last week, this room behind me here. It's, oh my God. So going from the camera in front of me in the studio, learning where to point there, it's like, I'm going to point over there. No, I'm not. I'm actually that way. There we go. So this room that's behind me with all those beams, I'm hoping to turn that into more studio space. So if I have studio over here behind me, that's where the live stream happens, right in there, where you can kind of see Jack standing back there, who's been a silent observer. No one even noticing this whole time.
But Jill says, look down. Where can you see Jill through one of the pass-throughs?
Well, hold on. Let me switch the camera. Let me switch to my front facing.
Oh, there's my gosh. That's so cool.
There's Jill in shipping and receiving. Run. The camera will follow you. Okay. So I'll bring you guys downstairs. Hopefully Wi-Fi holds strong. And we will go down to the wood shop. So those of you who have been to our building to do order pickups, this is where order pickups will happen. This is where UPS comes in, and we leave customer pickups over here. Comes in right. Everyone comes in through here, their front door. So if you kind of look at the layout, the front door leads right into Dr. Nick's back that way, or Jill's office back over that way. Or you can go down to the wood shop. Here we go. Let's hope. So we can take a quick peek. I'll show you in here, which is just retail woodland.
Wow. Wow. That's a lot.
Yeah. That's a lot of stuff. And you just look, it just goes back and back.
Wow.
Lots of stuff. And then so we can go in here. Thanks, Jack. And so this is, as I said, brand new, not even primed walls that separate us from the rest of the wood shop. And so it's kind of just a long, narrow shop. And as you can see, I'm like fresh into electrical panel work. Still got panels off. Oop, code violation. Anyway, so we're sitting here looking back right now at that's where I'm going to have a planer set up. Lots of spare slabs I'm doing stuff with. Gigantic table saw, CNC machine, bandsaw, and this gigantic, what looks like a mess. And anyone who's looking at this is going to be like, Nick, what's this gigantic pile of cherry that you have here that looks all haphazard on the floor? Well, this is a bunch of stuff that I dried for somebody back in the day when I was doing more commercial woodworking. And all of this stuff here, I mean, it's, you look at it, it is thick. It is really thick, like almost 3-inch thick cherry. And it got really warped when I dried it. So what I'm doing is I'm cutting it into these big cubed up strips, right? So just cutting big, long, 8-foot long strips of this stuff. And you can see it's kind of, some of it's straight, some of it's pretty warped, right? So what I'm going to do is feed it all through my table saw here. And I'm going to turn it into 1-inch by 1-inch sticks, you know. And then what I'm going to do is like a butcher block or like a big cutting board. I'm going to lay them edge to edge and tip to tip. And all of this, what would be kind of trash wood here, is going to be a workbench along this wall. So that way I'm not really wasting anything, and I'm not bringing in anything that's new and with material I could use. So it's like, this stuff's neat though. It's old growth cherry. If you look at the grain in here, it's really cool. Like, I don't want to just chop it up, right, and do nothing with it. So I figured if I need a gigantic, you know, call it 15-foot workbench from there all the way down this wall down to there, what a perfect thing to make it out of. But all the old cherry and old maple that was just hanging out here in the shop anyway, right? And well, we're back here. So before we jump into checking out some of the stuff that we're working on, like some of these carvings and just some of the other stuff that we're working on and inlay stuff kind of coming, this is the machine that does all that. So this guy here is a 60-inch by 60-inch 3-axis CNC machine. So what that means is it has an X, a Y, and a Z axis. So we're looking here. This would be what they consider Y is left to right, X is front to back, and Z is that up and down. So there's your 3 axis that you have. And pretty much the heart of this whole thing runs on this router right there. It's just a little 1/4-inch arbor, 1 horsepower, little German monster of a router with with like brushless motors. And that just runs what you would typically see as a tool in a router, you know? It just does it for you. So, you know, what you would typically see as just kind of looks like drill bits, right? But what this will do for you is something like this. Here's a piece of plywood that is going to be a pretty cool death head moth Ouija board with some epoxy and other stuff in it. What this guy does for you is the CNC machine will actually run this bit, and it does it just in layers and runs it around wherever you tell it to go. And with these, it's typically removing about 0.1 inch of material off at a time. So it kind of goes around and then steps its way down further and goes back around and steps down further, and away it goes. And it does this really cool detail work with bits that have like a little V on the end of them. This one's more of a flat-ended mill that goes into the deeper spaces and makes the bigger cuts. But you look at the detail, it's just really, really cool. And when you fill stuff like this with epoxy and sand it down, I'll show you an example of that in a minute. It ends up looking really neat. So this guy has been cut just this morning, and it leaves little tabs. You tap those guys out with a chisel, and away you go. Lifts right out, and you're left with the blanks that are sitting there. So this thing can go and do large panels. I mean, this can fit a whole, 4 foot by 4 foot sheet of plywood. If you let it hang off the edge here or in the back, it can fit a full 4 foot by 8 foot sheet of plywood because it can hang off the edge of the machine. You can slide it back and forth. But these things come as kits, which is neat, right? So if you bought the CNC machine this large, assembled, you're looking at like $3,000 to $10,000. Whereas you can get under $5,000 if you are willing to put it together and build it yourself. So it's all comprised of these different aluminum extrusions, extrusion rods, and bearings that basically act as drives. So you have drive screws. So what happens is you have motors in the back here, these stepper motors, these gigantic 50 kVA motors, and those guys turn that screw inside of here, and that screw moves gantry carts like this. So aluminum extrusion, drive screws, gantry carts, routers, bits, and dust collection all come together and form what is known as tabletop CNCs. So instead of having the gigantic 3-phase power requirement and suction tables and all kinds of stuff in big industrial purposes, which would by no means work in a room like this at all, you can have a fairly small workshop and a relatively capable CAD CAM machining setup. So you can augment what you're doing. Whoop. Gimbal fun. All right, so I'm going to flip you guys back around and put you on here. Let's see if I can prop this up where we can get a view and we can talk for a minute.
So cool. How hot is it in there, Nick?
So you know what? We got the concrete cooler, as it is. It's like we have the slab actually does a pretty good job of keeping it cool. It's not too bad down here right now.
Nice.
So let's see if I can get about right there. Should be good. So, the CNC machine does lots of neat stuff. Like it can do things that are like fully cut out, like stuff that goes on walls. Like people love these like whales and things. We can have them all over the place. We've made a few of them. They go on stands, other stuff that people do. But stuff that I've been doing for people that have been projects that have been commissioned projects are stuff like this, like wood inlays for a foundation that's over in Marshfield that does lots of, I do some charity work with them, and Jill and I donate our time to them. And this is a piece of walnut with maple inlaid. So that's actually a piece of wood inside of another piece of wood. So that's not cut or stained. Neither piece of wood here is stained or finished yet. That's just what it looks like with the wood cut very precisely inside of another piece of wood and inlaid and glued in.
That's so cool.
Yeah. So that kind of stuff's really neat. So the CNC machine cuts the recessed part of the wood, and then it cuts the mirror image of it into another piece. And you sandwich them down there with wood glue and clamp it in place. And then you use a pole saw or a bandsaw to slice off the inlaid wood, and you sand it down and you get this really nice smooth, you can't feel that it's two pieces of wood, and you get some really cool detail.
Wow.
And stuff like this is traditionally challenging to get sharp corners into it. Like doing things that have sharp inset corners with the CNC is typically pretty tough because you have to adjust this, because you to go on the inside of the corner, and it's usually radius to the shape of the bit. So there's a couple of tricky techniques that you use to kind of get some of these neat details, but possible. Huge like counter trays that you'd get to like key trays and stuff on counters. It's just if I have a random piece of wood, this is hand shape it and recess it and make it cool, serving tray wood. So these are what I've been working on. Here's the ones that you guys have seen some photos of. These are two French bulldogs that belong to a buddy of mine. He has not seen this yet. So, Bob, if you're watching the stream, turn it off. Come into your shop this week. You can't see it yet. It's a secret. So these guys, Stella and Nash, these are two French bulldogs that are his, and this is carved into walnut. And then this is our boy, Sir, who's, by the way,
it's Sir's birthday today.
Whoa!
Yep, it's Sir's pretty big deal. Sir turns 5 today, so everyone makes sure to say happy birthday to the boy, and here he is. And they're progressing just like anything you do, right? I think this one's probably the nicer of the ones that I've done, and it's just cool. The grain of the wood plays really well with where he has the wrinkles on his face. Just really neat. I'll get a video up of the making of this one, but you can see the carving is actually it's pretty thick,
Substantial.
Yeah.
And the base is thick too.
Oh yeah. And so these start off pretty chunky. Like I'll grab one here. Hold on. Let's find a good example of how one of these would start off. So like this is here we go. So this is the piece of maple. I'll turn this into one actually, and I'll post it. So like this big ass block.
Oh wow.
So like I mean it's raw on the edge, it's a big, messy, chunked up, oxidized, ugly piece of wood. But you can see it's got potential because it's got really cool grain on the side of it. You can see on the top, it's really pretty. It's got lines to it. So something like this that starts off all oxidized, very much like that. One sanding pass, you kind of get something more like that. And then you start seeing the grain on the sides and some of the figuring that opens up to it. It's actually really cool looking. So I'll take something like this and I'll flatten it down with the CNC machine. So I'll put it on there and I'll pass a big bit back and forth over it. And I'll flip it and I'll do the same thing. And that way you get a relative flat surface to the machine that you're working with. And, when you do it back and forth, you get the right thickness. Then you square it up, size it up. And next thing you know, I mean, you're dealing with super smooth edges and the grain of the wood just melts over the side of what you make.
Wow, that's cool.
Just ends up looking really neat. And then so you can paint around the edges of them for little wall tiles to make them kind of pop. Get like the gold paint and the eyes and stuff in there. This is out of canary wood. I was testing a Labrador and a Retriever. Very cool. And then, so these guys. So another piece, I like, as you guys know, we love Halloween stuff. We love spooky stuff. And there is an Halloween, there's a heavy metal art market that happens here in New England every year. And I'm kind of coming up with some designs that we could go have a booth and just do some cool art stuff. Maybe some things that are kind of horror themed or just a little spooky in nature. So the Ouija boards, of course, are a natural for New England, especially just being right south of Salem. You can't be at a heavy metal art market and have wood stuff and not do something cool with some kind of occult focused items, and Ouija boards are right there, right? So this one made out of purple heart. This is not stained. So this is the natural color of this wood. And it's called Purple Heart. And what I did was I cut it with the CNC machine and then I filled it with black epoxy. And then I sanded it down. So the surface that you get is you can't tell the difference with your finger between the wood and the epoxy. It's ultra smooth. Ultra smooth. It looks like it's almost like a sticker.
Beautiful.
And I mean the edges on this are, it's as they call, heirloom quality finished, right? It's every little detail on this one is all the way done.
Wow.
Feels very nice under your hand, very, very symmetrical from like a finished and cut and edge perspective. So traditionally finished modern kind of work.
Wow.
Super fun. Those I think will definitely help subsidize the space down here, right? Stuff like that. People love it, and it's one of those weird mixes of techniques that's just not out there much. It's like not many people are doing that style of stuff domestically. Like you can find a lot of it shipping on Etsy from like Indonesia and India, Brazil, but there's not many people locally that are taking this and bringing it all the way down and starting from scratch. Especially, oh, this is fun. You're gonna oil and sand this later, but this is the little planchette that goes with it.
Oh my gosh. Oh, that's cool.
So
that's really cool.
And so, you know, what's neat, right, is in fact, you know, if we're gonna walk back upstairs, let's make a pit stop. I can hear there's not too much going on next door. Thatcher runs Plymouth Live Edge next door where a lot of this wood comes from. I got to show you guys, like, you don't think that something like this can come from nature, but let's take a quick pit stop. I'll show you this kind of stockpile of Purple Heart that he got in from South America, and then we'll run back upstairs from there. Sound good?
Perfect. Yeah, we have about 7.5 minutes left.
Oh, okay, that's perfect. Well, let me flip the camera around here. Jack is a pro at doors today.
And yeah, Purple Heart is hard, heavy, and beautiful.
It is hard. So look at this stuff.
Wow.
Check that. Is that coming through okay?
Oh, vibrant and beautiful.
You can see it? Okay, cool.
Oh,
Yeah, it's amazing the colors that you get out of it. And you look at the stockpile we have here. You look up and
and that comes from nature.
Yeah, like look at some of this. You get over here, like look at this guy.
And the color on the outside is lighter. That's wild.
It's not all of it. This is a natural slab with a live edge, so you're gonna have the sapwood from the Purple Heart on the outside.
Wow.
And this stuff's all cut from the center from heartwood, so it's all just the meat.
Wow.
But yeah, you have lots of it.
Wow. Yeah,
Super
where's
cool.
Violet? This is Violet's tree. She's downstairs right now. Wow, that was really
I'll
cool.
walk you back upstairs here.
Awesome.
So talk about a perfect situation. You have someone who likes to play with wood, and then I just so happen to not only rent out a spot downstairs to a guy who gets an endless supply of amazing wood. He then got approached by someone who was like, hey, I bought a shipping container of exotic hardwoods from Brazil. Are you interested? And so we all of a sudden found ourselves now with not only, you know, downstairs being filled with amazing stuff, it's now stuff. We have canary and rosewood and mahogany and just stuff coming in from South America that's just insane.
That's crazy. All right, let me hit you with some rapid fire questions here. Do you have a humidifier down there?
Let's flip cameras.
Okay. Are you ready? We will flip cameras here, you guys. And then we got about 5 minutes left. All right. Can I hear you?
I believe so.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're getting good at these field trips.
We are. That used to be kind of a tech worry, and I don't think we have that worry anymore.
Not so much. Okay,
Nice.
rapid fire. Do you have to keep
All
a
right.
humidifier in there? No, because a lot of the wood comes in between 15-20%. It drops normally. Most of the wood in there is between 8 and 12%, which is good. If anything, we actually have to run dehumidifiers down there. So the slab, being as where we are in New England and we're half above grade, half below grade, that slab emits a certain deal of moisture. So we run 3 dehumidifiers down there year round, and we maintain the perfect relative humidity just by sucking out what we can from the air and leaving what remains.
Love it. You guys notice my fan is off? I did not turn that off. Did not. I'm the only one up here. So, yep.
So good.
There we go. Do you have a preference for plywood? And Kevin likes Baltic birch.
Yeah, I love birch. It depends what I'm doing. Like small detailed stuff, I think birch is great. Stuff that needs a little bigger of a pattern, like more open grain, you can't go wrong with Northeast maple plywood, in my opinion. I love it.
Recap. Alicia came in and said, start over. So we got her covered, right? That's the sister from another mister. Dan had a fan fight at an Airbnb. Nick took a field trip to the wood shop. She waved. Lots of pretty projects in wood. Mm-hmm.
Nailed it. That's a pretty good recap.
Yeah, I agree. All right. Can you inlay into PVC?
Inlay what into PVC? Like, could you inlay PVC into PVC? Yes. Could you inlay PVC into other stuff like wood or vice versa? I don't think so because of expansion.
Okay. Can you laminate different wood species and then do the CNC?
Yes, absolutely yes.
Okay, easy. And then will you be doing any pieces with resin?
Absolutely, yeah. So the Ouija board that was down there, believe it or not, that was all resin. That all the lettering is all resin in there. And then I'm doing some cool agate trays where I'm using flat agate discs and epoxy to make some trays in those. And what else is getting some epoxy? We're doing a Lego shelf for Jill's office. Now that I got my table saw up and running, I can make molds again. And we're going to be doing a big, like 5 foot wide, 3-inch thick, clear epoxy block that's got a bunch of Lego bricks in it.
Wow, that's going to be cool.
It's going to be super cool.
Dang.
It's going to be like 10 gallons of epoxy, but it's going to be fun.
I need all these pictures, Nick. We got some pictures down there. That was beautiful.
Oh yeah.
And then I believe the answer is downstairs, but where do you get the wood from? Is it anywhere else?
Yep, Plymouth Live Edge. He's on Facebook. You can find him. His name's Thatcher. Great dude, and it's right here in our building, and he is open to the public. So anyone who is in the area and you want some cool stuff, come in, talk to Thatcher, and tell him Dr. Nick sent you, and he will take very good care of you down there.
Okay. And Dennis wants to know, when you said what in PVC, he said names into PVC trim board.
Oh, yeah. So like what I would do for that is absolutely, you would just get PVC sheets and you'd carve out the negative space, and you could inlay PVC into PVC trim board. But I see what you mean, like PVC trim board in the house. I would do one into the other, and you could paint one and then do the other and then not paint the other one, something like that. You can get them dyed too, where you can get the stuff that dyed all the way through, and that way when you cut it, it'll just be the right color.
And guys, if you're looking to get some wood, Jill approves and says she loves Thatcher, super friendly guy. And Jill, if she does not like a person's vibe, she will not make this comment. So understand that's a glowing endorsement right there. She
Most importantly, even more important than Jill passing passing on a good recommendation, I can safely say that Sir, our French bulldog, loves Thatcher. So if Sir likes you, that means you pass multiple sniff tests. No pun intended.
Yeah, you're a good human. It's just the litmus test.
Yep.
Awesome. All right, guys, believe it or not, I think field trip days go even faster than random days, which are so fast to begin with. But that is our show. And I do have, I've got a family destroy in the world downstairs. So I got to make sure I relieve Sam. And Maddox has his big ID session tonight. It's the second one, the final one. So if you guys can send some positive vibes and belief into the air to Maddox, confidence, whatever you think he needs, send it on over, because it's going to be 95 and a really big night, and we're super excited about it. So thanks to everyone that's had kind comments. Thanks for listening to my fan fight story. I didn't get to tell anybody yet. You guys were the first. And
I love it.
Thank you, Nick, for making the stream so fun, so transparent, so like just out there for everybody. Today was really, really cool. And shout out to those of you watching the replay that made it all the way through. Please leave some comments. Dr. Nix gets back to every single one. All right, Nick, final words for our friends on this really cool day.
Man, thanks for coming with me. And it's not a cool day. It was a hot day. But I appreciate everyone coming nonetheless.
Awesome, guys. We will see you next week, same time. By the way, it might be looking a little bit festive next week on the 1st of July.